updated. We're going to need to be able to accommodate what's going to come through with these moves. And so we're going to kind of talk through some of the elementary schools and the middle school piece to kind of outline some of the things we see that are going to be necessary. So the first one up here is the current Johnson Elementary School, the proposed Kenyon Elementary School. So in this outline of the building, you see that we have classrooms that are colored in green. Those classrooms that are colored in green, and you'll see this on each of the maps, these are the classrooms we know that are needed for general education and special education programming. But we also recognize that in elementary schools, there are other programs, other needs that they must have classrooms dedicated for, be it the library, be it a sensory room, a music room. Like, we know we're going to have those needs in each school. So we've outlined those needs in the orange classrooms that you can see up there. So in terms of the Johnson Elementary School, we have a building capacity that is going to be at 450. We're projecting the enrollment to be at 416. And again, the key is keeping those class sizes to where it's at 28, not going to where we would consider the contractual max that is allowed for our teachers. We know that in this facility, we're going to have to look at new windows. That one of the biggest things is the parking lot. And you did see that that was in our discussion that we had earlier with Mr. Kent when he came to the microphone, because the current Johnson parking lot is just not going to be sustainable for a full elementary school at this point, and that is why that has become a point of priority. They would need the Kenyon playground would be moved over to this location. We have already discussed with the playground companies that is something that they can do, and it is something that they can do rather easily to move what we have put in from the bond already. We also know that there'll be a new storage shed necessary, and that we would also, in the courtyard where I believe currently there is a playscape, we would take that playscape, which would go with the preschool program, but we would convert that space to an outdoor educational space for the school to use.
So at, I believe, is it McDowell? My face is covered. Okay. At the McDowell Elementary School, the proposed alterations, and this is going to be very similar to Myers as well, because Myers and McDowell are identical buildings. You'll see that 115, that room, currently, what we are proposing is to convert that into a classroom. So you'll see that we are going to extend the wall back into the library. We would make that a classroom. 113 is another alteration that we'd be making to the building. Currently, they're 2 resource rooms and they're small. What we're proposing is to kick that wall back to make it flush with the rest of the building, to be able to open that space up to convert that into a classroom. With those alterations, you can see that it allows us to increase our building capacity to 475 students there at McDowell. The expected enrollment is 415 students, and again, keeping to 28 students per classroom. The building improvements that we are proposing for that building would be new windows, the additional classrooms I talked about, flooring improvements, door installations to ensure that we have secure exterior doors, as well as interior doors into these little corridors between the classrooms, because that'll be where a lot of our student services staff are. In addition, we would be looking at providing an additional storage shed at that building, as storage would need to be expanded there at the building.
So our next building that would need to be addressed, and this is where we would have to definitely make some changes that would be quite different from where our current layout is, at Holland Elementary. So when you look on this map here, if you notice where we have listed as a classroom as room 116, that is what is currently being used as the entrance. So we know that we would have to build a wall and construct out where we're building a space for 2 classrooms to fit in there. Again, these would be the classrooms that we're using for those sensory rooms, for the music rooms, for those items, and hence I know, because some asked about 116 and the size, that would be looking at a spot for that sensory room that the school would need. So again, what's in the orange, that's what we're looking at for those needs. And then the other classrooms would be for the special education and the general education programming. The other big piece of note, if you look at room 104 on there, that is currently the office space for Holland Elementary. So again, we would have to do similar to what we're doing on the other side of the hallway, and we'd have to build that out and make that as classroom space to make this work. We would move the main entrance, because like I said, that's currently at 116, but the main entrance would go to the doorway that is on the cafeteria currently. And if you notice in yellow right there, that is built around that spot at that main entrance, that's the area that would become the offices for Holland Elementary School.
And when the building was originally built, that was the offices too, so it can accommodate those needs.
So again, as much of our properties, we are looking at there are going to be some other necessary improvements that go into it. Particularly, I know at Holland, the windows are in really bad shape, and that would be something that we do need to address at that point. Again, we'd be looking at the additional classrooms, and we would be looking at making sure that we are taking care of flooring changes through this process as well, and making sure that the portable that's outside is renovated and can be used for storage for the building.
So now moving ahead, looking at the Taylor Middle School campus, the former West building would be considered building 1 of the campus. So there are going to be major alterations that are going to be needed to be made at this building, as it will be our 1 middle school. So because of that, we'll have to make that building ADA compliant. As you can see, we'll start at the yellow classroom, number 2. That is what we're proposing to be our Poe-High classroom for that building. And that is mainly because it's the only classroom in that building that butts up to bathrooms. And we know that we have to have those doorways cut in to allow those kids in that program to enter that bathroom and out of that bathroom.
And for clarification, those bathrooms, as they currently stand, they are used for events. So they typically, the administration at West does not have those open for student use because those are event bathrooms. So during the day, it would remain that way, that it would be closed to other students, but open for the Poe-High. And then in the evening, if we have an event, we'd make sure that it's closed off for the Poe-High rooms, but available for events still.
Right above that, you'll see classroom number 1. That is the current band and choir room. Again, given the fact that we are combining 2 middle schools, we know there may be an additional need for space in our performing arts classes, so for our band and choir. So the proposal is that if need be, we would expand that to make it a larger band room to accommodate more students in there. Classroom number 3 would be our new choir or proposed choir room. And then classroom number 4, again, meeting that need for a sensory room. And then right between number 3 and 4 would be that new maintenance office as well at the building. As we make our way down that hallway, number 4, you'll see there's an elevator room. So this is, again, a component because we're making that building, the 1 middle school, it would have to be ADA compliant. So we would be putting an elevator in that building. And it's a perfect fit, as right now it sits as the concession stand and it sits as a maintenance room. So we know we can move the maintenance room further down the hall and be able to put the equipment in there, because right above that on the 2nd floor, you'll see the fan/elevator room. Currently, that space is split into 2 rooms. It's a storage room, and then it's also the fan room. So we would just knock the wall down and be able to build the elevator up to that 2nd floor to make it ADA compliant.
And we do know, because they did put a lift in at West last year, like that is still an option, but we know when we have a full Poe-High program in the building, the lift does not move very fast. We're going to need other options as well.
And then when we look ahead down that hall across from the elevator room, you'll see the hallway that's between the gym and the cafeteria. The proposal is that that is the hallway where our students would be entering and exiting to get to the other building number 2 on the campus. So we would have that hallway be where students enter and exit to get to the next building for their elective classes. The purple room that's right there next to the entrance is the proposed new security room. That way we're ensuring that the students entering our building are our students, as well as ensuring that we have security that's near that student walkway, so in case anything were to happen, we can have people on site right away. And then we'll also be having security like we do at the high school that's monitoring the grounds as well. And then as we make our way down to the library, you'll see that the classroom that's across from it is being converted into additional offices. This is to support our student services. So this is our attendance agents, our dean of students, our EL teachers, our resiliency coaches. We know that there's additional need for spaces in those rooms. And that is also on the second floor too. You'll see right next to room number 34, those additional offices would be up there as well.